Hey Dalton, how do you think Africa has influenced art today?
I'm not really sure.
Okay, well how do you think Pablo Picasso has influenced art in America today?
I think he has a very big influence. He obviously, whenever he talks about art, he's one of the first people to be mentioned, so he's definitely very influential, especially on American art.
Actually, Pablo Picasso is one of the main artists that changed art in the Americas and Europe in the 20th century. He was heavily influenced by the art of Africa, and he sparked an interest in the Americas with his abstract pieces. Some people refer to it as modern art. African art as an influence on American art is an interesting concept because, as the art historian Suzanne Blair states in the Bates Mudimbe and Abar article, students of African art note the power of custom. Custom is extremely important to Africans, so while painting, sculptures, and other forms of art in Africa reflect the African heritage and history, their art is still appealing to other parts of the world. This says a lot about African culture. The Indianapolis Museum of Art's website, titled Cycles, African Life Through Art, discusses the importance of life cycles in African culture. Their art depicts different stages of life, such as birth, growth and maturity, adulthood, death, and ancestry. Perhaps the reason African art is so influential to Americans and cultures around the world is because every person can relate to the cycle of life. Even the Indianapolis Museum of Art refers to Picasso as an ancestor who should be respected, and rightfully so, because his stylistic changes in his pieces changed art in America forever.
How do you think Africa has influenced music today?
I don't really know.
Any American, when asked this question, would likely give the same response. However, the fact is that much of America's pop music has been influenced by African musical traditions. Music was often used for the spread of oral traditions in certain African cultures. Specifically, the Soninke griots of ancient Ghana used the balafon and Malayan kora during the telling of their stories. It was during the transatlantic slave trade that many of these African musical instruments and styles found their way into America. For example, the banjo and djembe are two distinctly African instruments which can be heard in much of American music today. Further, it was Africans who brought over the concept of blue notes and syncopation, two concepts which have placed their influence on nearly all of America's rock and rap today.
Ancient African governments have had a large impact on today's society, particularly in America. Such political systems as the Oromo-Gada government system consisted of a triple-level hierarchy form of government labeled national, regional, and local, much resembling that of today's American government. The Oromo people also believed in a democratic government similar to that practiced in America today. The national leader, or the Abagada, carried out roles strikingly similar to the president's roles, and the state had a system closely mocking the Senate seen in American legislature. In addition to influences of democratic practices similar to those in America, there were other ancient African political and economic systems that influenced other aspects of later civilizations' governments and economics. The Egyptian Empire, which eventually formed a political system after 100 years of consolidation, was the world's earliest large-scale political economy. They were the first to implement practices such as tax collection and redistribution. Their methods of tax collection and usage are all reflected in those of many countries today, including America. Americans and many other different people around the world pay taxes locally and federally to fund public services and goods such as schools, support state and government officials and employees, and also to maintain infrastructure and government property. What is something that you learned while visiting Africa?
Something I learned that kind of surprised me. Going over there, I thought that, this is a completely different set of people. They're nothing like me. But after being over there, you realize that these people do actually have a lot in common with you, even though they're from Africa and we're from America. They're humans just like we are, and we face the same struggles.
Africa's culture throughout history has created a foundation for societies everywhere and shaped the way the world is today. Its artistic musical, and political influences have transformed the way civilizations communicate, learn, and operate. The immense significance of its influences on the lives of people today can be seen all around the world. Studying the landscape of African history opens the door of appreciation for our lives today.